You want to know why Bitcoin is struggling to break 44,500, don't you? I'm going to show you why Bitcoin is struggling to break 44,500, and I'm going to show you why some alts are running today and some alts aren't running today. And let me tell you, it's juicy, juicy, juicy. Also today, we have giveaways again. And we have amazing, amazing giveaways, but they're not that easy to win. They're not that easy to win. You got to stay tuned till the end if you want to participate in the giveaways. So make sure you stay tuned till the end. Let me tell you, this is going to be one of our fastest and highest alpha per minute shows that we've had in a long, long, long time. So let's do this. Go, 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 go. You see, we don't even have time for an intro today. That's how quick the show's going to be today. There's so much going on here. So welcome back, guys. Welcome back. I'm Crypto Man Run. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to our channel. If you're not new to the channel, just like this content. Smash the like button. Obliterate the like button. Now, let me tell you something. Today, we're giving away 5 NFTs. They are amazing, amazing, amazing NFTs. But we're only going to do it if we get to 3,000 likes. And it's going to happen at the end of the show. So go, go, go. Smash the like button. Obliterate the like button. I'm also going to show you today why Bitcoin is struggling to break the 44,500. So every time we get close to 44,500, you can see that every time that we've got to 44,500. In fact, let me go to the hourly candle because that gives you a much better view and it gives you a much closer view. But every time we get here, we get to that 44,500 and we get knocked down again. And we get to the 44,500 and we get knocked down again. Well, the reason I think for that is actually pretty obvious. And that is that on Friday, we have another options closeout, and it's a big options closeout this time. And right now, as it stands, the point of max pain is $43,000. Now, you know, every Friday or every time that there's an options closeout in the middle of the week, what we get is we get the whales playing games with the price and trying to manipulate the price of Bitcoin. But we're not going to fall for that, for those price manipulations. We're not going to fall for that. We're much smarter than that. But what we can see is that they are starting to do the same thing again. So what they do, because they're smart, they're smart, but they're not as smart as we are. They're not as smart as we are. They start putting on Bitcoin onto derivatives exchanges so that they can take short positions and so that they can scare us. But we're not scared because we know these tricks. We know these tricks. We know these tricks. Michael Chu says, no intro because we're late. We weren't late. We said we were going to be there at today. We're going to start at 9:30. There's a reason for that. The reason is I found something that I have to share with you guys, because effectively you're going to get free tokens. Everybody's going to get free tokens. If you watch the show till the end today, you're going to get free, amazing tokens, not from me, because I'm going to show you how to get free tokens in an airdrop. So that's why we were late today, and I wanted to make sure that I had all the information for you. So make sure that you do stay here till the end. So we are seeing the whales, and there's a whole lot of new whales now. I'll show you a whole lot of new whales now, but we are seeing the whales playing their options closeout games. They've put 5,500 Bitcoin on the derivatives exchange. Look at when that happened. So when that happened about an hour ago, and if you look at the Bitcoin price about an hour ago, let's go back onto the hourly candle and let's go back 1 hour. That's exactly when we had the red candle. So you can see how these whales are playing these games to manipulate the price of Bitcoin. How do they do it? Well, what they do is they make as if huge amounts of Bitcoin are going onto exchanges. That's supposed to scare people, saying, oh, wow, there's so many people going into exchanges. And then that drives the Bitcoin price down. That's why Bitcoin is struggling to break the 44,500. Don't believe what anybody else tells you. This is the war that's going to go. This is the war that's going to go. You see, I said the word airdrop. And now that I've said the word airdrop, all people care about here is when airdrops. So you got to listen till the end if you want to know when the airdrop is. It's not our airdrop. It's actually a big airdrop. It's a serious airdrop on a serious chain that you can get if you've done something. Anyway, we're also seeing confirmation that this big green candle here on Bitcoin was oligarch buying, and that the oligarch buying is actually continuing. And we see the confirmation because we look at Glassnodes and we look at the number of whales, and we can see that the number of whales, which is Bitcoin account balances that are bigger than 1,000 Bitcoin. You got to have 1,000 Bitcoin to be a whale nowadays. I mean, that's a lot of Bitcoin. That's a lot of Bitcoin. I'll tell you who's got 1,000 Bitcoin. I'll tell you who's got 1,000 Bitcoin. She's got 1,000 Bitcoin because look how happy she is. Look how happy she is. She's got. Yeah, that is actually that's actually the perfect meme for Fred. Every time I talk about an altcoin, every time I call an altcoin on the show, Fred stands up here in the studio and he does a Nancy Pelosi. So it's like, yeah. If you wanna do this, if you wanna get this move right, if you want to get this, we'll call this the Pelosi, right? If you want to get the Pelosi right, like that, it's a combination of standing up at the right time and then rubbing your hands and then making sure you got a vibrator in and someone turns up the volume. You got to say that on YouTube. You can't say that on YouTube. Anyway, I mean, I can't stand her anyway. So we do have confirmation that it's the oligarchs, and the oligarchs keep buying, and we can see that because the buying is still very much a Bitcoin buying, and there's not much Ethereum buying going on at the moment. So I checked the same data again, and I checked the same data for Ethereum, and you can see that the number of addresses holding a whole lot of Bitcoin and the number of addresses holding a whole lot of Ethereum are doing two completely different things. And that's confirmation that there are Russian oligarchs and that they are starting to stress about their assets and the sanctions that are being imposed on their assets. Now, we're seeing like very stressed moves from these oligarchs. I don't know if you guys saw, but I'm going to show you one oligarch that I think we're all familiar with, and that's Roman Abramovich. And we know that Roman Abramovich is now starting to sell his assets and his property in London. So, you know, and there's many other oligarchs that are doing this. I'll show you this in a couple of secs. But one of these famous oligarchs is Roman Abramovich. He's the not the founder of Chelsea. He's just the owner of Chelsea. I said founder of Chelsea yesterday. You guys nearly roasted me. Okay, so he's starting to sell his properties in London. And this is because of all the sanctions. And it's not only sanctions on oligarchs, but you know, anyone in Russia now can't move more than $10,000 out of the country. So that's how they're starting to stop this bank run on Russia and stop everything, all the money leaving Russia. You're seeing Abramovich now, for the first time, he's trying to sell Chelsea. Now, he's always said that he wouldn't sell Chelsea. He's always said that Chelsea's very close to his heart. Now, he says he's trying to sell Chelsea. I'm also a Chelsea fan. I actually am an Abramovich fan too. But he does say that he wants around $4 billion for Chelsea. Now, to give you some perspective, when he bought Chelsea, I think he paid, what is the number that he paid? 130 million pounds? He paid 130 million pounds. Obviously, he's invested a lot in the club, but now he wants $4 billion. My message to Roman Abramovich is, if you want those kind of returns, then what you need to be doing is not investing in football clubs. You need to be investing in altcoins, specific altcoins, like you should have invested in Luna when I told you to invest in Luna. He could have bought Arweave, he could have bought Solana. He didn't. He bought a football club. Now he's trying to get altcoin type returns in a football club, which is, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But on a more serious side, what we are seeing is that these oligarchs are starting to realize that they actually have nowhere to go with their money. Put yourself in the eyes of these Russian oligarchs, okay? And put yourself in a position where you own all these things. You own yachts, you own private jets, you own companies, you own jewelry, you own football clubs, you even own crypto on exchanges. What do you do? What do you do with your wealth? You've got every bank in the world sanctioning you. You've got countries starting to seize your assets and seize your wealth. What are you going to do with your assets? And there's ultimately nothing you can do, because if you think about any asset that an oligarch can hold today, money in banks, yachts, private jets, well, bottom line is that they can all be traced and they can all be frozen at some point in time. Even your crypto on exchanges, and I don't know if you guys saw, but CZ was on an interview earlier with Bloomberg, and he said, look, we've actually started to freeze assets of Russian oligarchs. So there's apparently a list that's going around of Russian oligarchs, and any account that is linked to them in any way, whether it's a trust, whether it's a company, whether it's them, well, those accounts are starting to be frozen on centralized exchanges also. So we're seeing these oligarchs starting to run. Now, how big is this oligarch? A treasure chest? How much money do these oligarchs have that potentially they can put into Bitcoin? So let me give you an idea of how big this problem is for Russian oligarchs. The first part of it that I want to show you is just to give you an idea of the wealth that some of these people have. So this is Vladimir Pontanin. Now, just to give you some perspective, these oligarchs have lost more than $84 billion already this year. They must be furious at Putin. But this is the amount of wealth that these people have. They have 25 billion, 20 billion, 21 billion. If Fred was Russian, he would be somewhere here next to Vladimir Lysin. Roman Abramovich, $13 billion. He's lost $4 billion. Hold on, someone says, look at that candle. Let's quickly look at that candle. There's that candle. There's the candle. There's the candle. We're watching it live. You watched it live here with us. Okay, so they have a whole lot of money. In fact, the estimates are that these Russian oligarchs have about $800 billion. They have about $800 billion. If you think about $800 billion, and if you go to Wikipedia and you look at the oligarchs and how much money they have, you can kind of see how rich they are and how much money each one of these have. And obviously, this is not exactly updated. But if you add all of this up, there's about $800 billion. And what you realize is that these are not people that are living in Russia. These are people that, some of them are living in Russia, but some of them live in places like Finland or Israel or Lithuania or Portugal or even Ukraine. I mean, some of them even live in Ukraine. So these are all, no one cares about what I'm saying. All they care about is the candle. So maybe we should just stop the show and just watch the candle. Maybe just
say it's Fred, what we call that hand. Fredchenko.
Fredchenko, the oligarch. It's Fredchenko, the oligarch. It's Fredchenko, the oligarch. So these oligarchs have got $800 billion. And the reality is that right now, they've got nowhere to put this money. Literally, they've come to a point now where banks are being frozen, their company shares are being frozen, their yachts are being targeted, their private jets are being seized, and they can't fly over any airspaces. So there's a big problem for these Russians. And a lot of this wealth is going to go into crypto. I don't think all of this wealth is going to go into crypto, but a lot of this wealth has gone into crypto. And what we're seeing as a result of this is we're seeing the markets going up, as you can see, mainly Bitcoin going up, filtering into altcoins, but it's actually not all altcoins. And I'm going to show you today which altcoins and which altcoin narratives are the good narratives to be investing in, because it's not every altcoin that's going up. No doubt, when you've looked at your coin geckos or wherever you look at your portfolio, you've looked at it and you're going, well, some of my coins are doing really well and some of my coins are doing shit. And we got to talk about why some coins are doing really well and why some coins aren't doing well. Because if you can identify that narrative and you can trade the narrative before anybody else trades it, that is how you're going to make life-changing money. That's basically how you're going to make life-changing money. And it looks like that season is back. So you got to seriously pay attention. All right, enough looking at the candle. Or maybe let's have one look at the candle while I have some water. And then let's talk about what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. The peace talks in Russia and Ukraine, pretty much right now as it stands, should we do the show like that? Should we just do the show like that? And then you can just watch the Bitcoin price while I talk. Okay, cool. So we'll do the show like that. Then you can watch me and you can watch the Bitcoin price. And I'll make that bigger for you guys so you can see there we go. We'll watch the candle. Should we watch it on the 3-minute chart? There we go. How's that? So there we go. So we can do the show exactly like that. You can watch me and the candle. Then I don't feel that complex of like, why aren't you guys watching me? I get insecure and shit like that happens. Getting insecure and shit like that happens. All right. So nothing happens on nothing. But you see, you can't watch the candle and then me also show you some tweets. That's the problem. So okay, well that's just what it is. All right. So nothing happened on the peace talks. There's not much going on in the peace talks. I guess you can kind of say that they were unsuccessful at this stage. What you also are seeing is that the oil price is starting to climb. So that's the oil price. Oil price went as high as I think $115 at one point, which is pretty big. It's pretty big, and it's going to cause a whole lot of inflation. We also saw commodity prices going up. So if you look at the Bloomberg Commodity Index, well, that's what the Bloomberg Commodity Index looks like. It looks like an altcoin basically going vertical. And this is going to cause inflation. I mean, if you think about what the net effects of all of this is going to be, it's going to cause serious inflation. And that's, I think, what the world needs to brace for. And I'll show you what that means. Now, Joe Biden has a master plan. He believes that he has a master plan. He says that the way to fight inflation is not to raise your wages, is not to lower your wages, but to lower your costs. I don't know how he wants to do this, but let me show you what he said. The guy's a genius, because I don't know how he does this.
One way to fight inflation is to drive down wages and make Americans poorer. I think I have a better idea to fight inflation. Lower your costs, not your wages. One way to fight inflation is to drive down wages and make America.
Okay, now, I mean, I don't know how you plan to lower your costs when right now, you're getting oil climbing, you're getting every single commodity in the world climbing. But, Joe Biden says, well, he's
Just pay less.
He's got a master plan, and his master plan is he's going to lower your costs. And when he does that, then Nancy Pelosi does that whole, she does that whole, that move that she does. That's
40
move.
times. Many of you have been there. I've been in and out of Iraq and Afghanistan over 40 times.
He's been to Iraq and Afghanistan. I mean, Nancy Pelosi. So also we're seeing that, we're talking about Russia and Ukraine. What we can see is that Ukraine is certainly maybe not winning the war, but they are winning the social media war. That's for sure. They've caught on to the fact that sharing positive images with the world and showing the world their victories and getting the rest of the world to support them is really driving them. So what you're seeing images like this of Russian tanks abandoned, farmers in Ukraine moving tanks. Ukraine's really winning the sentiment, really winning the sentiment.
Молодці.
Yeah, so they are winning the sentiment war. Zelensky says that there are almost 6,000 Russians that have been killed in the last 6 days worth of war. That's the message that is coming out into the media. You also now have the Ukrainian government has now realized the power of the crypto community. And what's happened to the Ukrainian government is that the Ukrainian government has now become full tilt Degen. Okay, so what they've realized is that probably more powerful than any country in the world is actually a group of people who have a common ideal, and the ideal doesn't revolve around geographical borders. In fact, their whole ideal is around not having any geographical borders, not being beholden to the decisions of one political party or one government or geographical borders. So, and that's, of course, the crypto people. And so what the Ukrainian government has done, and they've done this very well, is they've become degens. And when I say to you degens, like they've become serious degens. So first, what they did was they went, it's like all of us. It's like all of us degens. First, what you do, you come here, you come for Bitcoin, right? So, you buy your first Bitcoin. So they publish a Bitcoin address. Then you think, okay, Bitcoin, great, but it doesn't do everything I needed to do. So what do? They publish an Ethereum address. Okay. Then they're going to major altcoins. Okay. So now they're saying, okay, they publish a DOT address and they published a Tron address, right? So that's what happened. So they're going full degen. Then what happened with the Ukrainian government is they went meme coin. So they started to accept Doge. Okay, so they said, okay, not only do we accept, but it's exactly what happened to all of us. Bitcoin, Ethereum, then we went into large cap alts. Some of us went into Polkadot. Then we thought, okay, let's take our chances on a meme coin. And they took their chances on a meme coin and they went into Dogecoin, okay? What happens after you do Bitcoin and you do Ethereum and you do Dogecoin? I'll tell you what happens. You think to yourself, okay, returns are amazing, but actually the real money in crypto is actually in DeFi. So what do? You start collecting airdrops. So now what you can see is that now they're starting to do airdrops. Right? The Ukrainian government is saying, look, if you do invest, or anyone that has invested, we're taking a snapshot of all the donations and we're going to do an airdrop. So the Ukrainian government's like full tilt crypto degen crazy. I mean, they're doing an airdrop, a full airdrop, which is amazing. I'm happy about it. I donated money to this. I want to see what kind of airdrop they do. Lots of people are happy about it. And it seems to have worked because the UN in total has pledged 20 million in humanitarian aid to Ukraine. Okay, so the UN in total has pledged 20 million, but the crypto community so far has pledged about $40 million. So double what the UN is the crypto community. And when they announced that they're going to do this airdrop, what happened was people went crazy and started to deposit more money. And so since they announced they're going to do the airdrop, they've got about $8 or $9 million more crypto donations than they had before. So the Ukrainian government has gone full degen. They went from Bitcoin and Ethereum to large cap alts. From large cap alts, they went into meme coins. From meme coins, they went into airdrops. And then what happens after all this happens? I'll tell you what happens after all of this happens. What would happen in normal crypto? Someone would cry foul. Someone would say, oh, but why was I excluded from the airdrop, right? That's basically what would happen in crypto. And that's exactly what happened. You got Justin Sun, who's now not really a crypto person because he's more of a government, he's a diplomat person. He wears a suit now and stuff like that. He's saying it's unfair because the people that went into Tron and gave $1.2 million aren't getting the airdrop. So what's happening in Ukraine is super interesting. It's basically become DeFi degens at war. You got the Ukrainian government, you got airdrops, you got meme coins, all of this while a war is being fought. Absolutely crazy. All right, let's talk about the big question of the day and what I asked you about. And just before we talk about it, we said if you get 3,000 likes today, we give away giveaways, and they're expensive giveaways. They're proper giveaways. If we don't get 3,000 likes today, then I keep the giveaways and I give them to the Banter team. And there's a whole big Banter team here. You got Pranoy here, Pranoy's here from India. You got Joe's from Ireland. You got lots of people here. They all want these giveaways I'm going to be doing in a bit. Yeah, the big question. Put up the tile. I'll show you why I want you to put up a tile, because that's the big question on everyone's mind. What's the big question on everyone's mind?
Which tile?
The show tile. What is the big? Is it safe to buy altcoins yet? That's what everyone's asking. Is it safe to buy altcoins, or is this a complete, I don't know, pump that is Bitcoin related? And if you buy altcoins, are you going to get wrecked? Is this the right time to be buying altcoins? Well, I want to show you a scenario. I want to show you a thesis, because what we are seeing right now is we're seeing something very interesting playing out. The first thing that we see is we are seeing a dominance. So we saw last night, let's look at the last couple of hours. It makes it a lot easier. But we saw a drop in the dominance, which showed that people actually yesterday early on started to degen into altcoins. And that degening into altcoins actually persisted until about 5 minutes ago when we just got this pump. So what we saw is that people actually started to deploy more money into altcoins, much more money into altcoins, okay? That's what we saw. We also saw that in our portfolio. So if you look at our portfolio, you can see that our altcoins absolutely started pumping today. Some of our big altcoins, Kujira were up 31%, Astroport up 24%, Vader up 20%, LuxRare up 20%, Tomb, T-Shares, all of those up 20%. So you saw this massive bounce in altcoins. Now, let's talk about what's actually happening here. The money that's flowing into the market is actually flowing into Bitcoin. And it's flowing into Bitcoin by these Russian oligarchs. And what I think is happening here is I think we're going to get a whole lot of money flowing out of assets, yachts, football clubs, mansions, apartments, and into crypto by these Russian oligarchs. But at the same time, there's a flip side of the coin. And the flip side of the coin is that while the buyers are buying, you're seeing the correlation between the stock markets and Bitcoin separate completely. So you're seeing the NASDAQ going down and you're seeing the Bitcoin going up. Now, the question is whether anyone in the world could have speculated that there would be this decoupling between Bitcoin and altcoins. Is there anyone in the whole wide world that could have speculated about that? The answer is yes. I don't know if you guys remember when I did a show about a week or so ago, and I showed you guys the Pantera newsletter, and what Dan Morehead from Pantera said is, he said, I totally agree with Joey that the correlation between the S&P 500 and crypto is a short-lived thing. In the past 6 downdrafts, the S&P, since Bitcoin was trading in 2010, correlations have spiked over a couple of months. In the past 6 downdrafts of the S&P, it took about 71 days for them to decouple. That's what we said back then, and we said at the time, I don't know if you remember, but I said to you guys, we are of the thesis that Bitcoin will break away from the correlation to the S&P, and when it does, we based it on this article, and he said 71 days. Okay, interesting. Now let's look at how accurate that call was. So let's go to the S&P 500. Let's quickly go and see that's the top of the S&P 500 over there. And let's just measure how many days it's been since the down, right? So let's look at how many days it's been since the down. It's been 57 days. So he said on average, it takes about 71 days for the correlation to break. What we're seeing now is that the break in correlation actually came early. So we saw that the NASDAQ and the Bitcoin has decoupled from the NASDAQ. And what he continued to say in that newsletter is he said that people will start rushing to Bitcoin as a safe haven. Now, there's no chance in hell that he knew at the time that these oligarchs were going to start running from Russian assets or from assets into Bitcoin. There's no way that he knew that. But he just knew that for some reason, the correlation would break. And it looks like the correlation is now broken. So what's happening? Money's going into Bitcoin from these Russian oligarchs. Some crypto people are making money on the Bitcoin and now putting some of that money into alts because they want to make more money on alts. That's not the oligarchs. The oligarchs are not here to make money on alts. They just want to protect their money. And I'll show you where they may put their money in a couple of secs. But on the flip side of that, we have to remember one thing. We have to remember that these Russian sanctions and crippling these Russian companies and crippling these Russian banks and making sure that and making Russia not be able to pay its sovereign debt is very dangerous for stock markets. Because what's going to happen here is you've got all these companies or countries that have exposure to Russia. France, Italy, Austria, even the US has huge exposure to Russia, Japan, Germany. All these countries have exposure to Russia. Now, if you cripple Russia, what's going to happen is you're going to destroy this exposure that they have. This exposure is going to be worth nothing. It's going to be worth nothing. So, and there's also trade exposure. So China's got huge trade exposure to Russia. Germany's got huge trade exposure to Russia. Belarus, Netherlands, United States have all, wow, everyone's talking about the Bitcoin price. We should just stop the show. Let's just watch the Bitcoin price. No one cares about what I'm saying. Okay, so let me close a whole lot of tabs here because it's just draining the internet for no good reason. Okay, so there is this flip side of the coin which says, okay, even though the price of Bitcoin is going down, there's damage being done to the economy. And for as long as damage is being done to the economy, what we'll probably see is we'll see the stock markets going down while Bitcoin is going up. But Bitcoin is going up for the wrong reason. Bitcoin is not going up because people have gone risk on, and Bitcoin is not going up because people are using it as a safe haven. Bitcoin is going up because there's one buyer in the market, and that buyer in the market right now is what you call Russian oligarchs. Or let's just call it Russians, because it could be Russian oligarchs, people in Russia, people affected by the Russia war. So Russians are buying Bitcoin at the moment, and that's the only buyer in the market. What's going to happen, or what could happen is, if the stock markets continue to go down because or banks and financial institutions start to default because of exposure to Russia, that's going to drive the stock markets down even more, and it's going to drive risk off all assets. And if we get into risk off all assets, then what you may get to a point is where the decorrelation between Bitcoin and the NASDAQ, so the decorrelation between them becomes so big, and all of a sudden the buyer dries up because these oligarchs have now bought, and then bang, you get a dip. You get a dip of Bitcoin because there's no more buyers because everyone's gone risk off. So you got to watch out for that scenario. And how you're going to pick up on that scenario is very simple. You're going to watch the correlation between Bitcoin and the NASDAQ. If the NASDAQ continues to go up, down, and Bitcoin continues to go up, and it happens for a long period of time, if this continues for a long period of time, then what you got to say to yourself is okay, be careful because people may go risk off again. If it doesn't happen, if stock markets continue to go up and Bitcoin continues to go up faster than the stock markets, then we're safe. Then we're safe to buy altcoins. So the question as to whether it's safe to buy altcoins, right now it's safe. For as long as stock markets don't crash and Bitcoin doesn't continue to go up and you don't get that divergence, it's safe to buy altcoins. In fact, it's very safe to buy altcoins, and you should be DCAing. The minute that we see too much of a break and the gap between stock markets and Bitcoin goes too big, bang, that's it. That is when we go, hold on a second, be careful of altcoins, exit all altcoins. For now, probably safe to buy. And if you want to be buying, then you need to look at certain narratives to buy, because you can't just be buying any narrative. You've got to buy specific narratives. What are the narratives that you should be buying right now? Well, let's talk about a few of these narratives. It's very smart narratives. The first narrative that you need to think about is put yourself in the shoes of an oligarch. Okay, so you're an oligarch. You have just lost billions and billions and billions of dollars. According to Bloomberg, to Business Insider, before all these sanctions, you've lost $84 billion this year. You've lost it because oil prices have gone up. Now the whole world's trying to seize your assets. What are you going to try and do? You're going to try and protect your assets and put them into a safe haven. Okay, so you're going to put your assets wherever you can and also into Bitcoin. Okay, so you're going to put assets into Bitcoin. Also, you're going to try and sell assets to your friends and who are British. So, Roman Abramovich is going to sell his house to his British friend. He's going to sell the house to a British friend and sell the house. And he's going to sell the football club to a British friend. To the cleaner of his house, to his nanny. He's going to sell the house. So she's all of a sudden going to, okay. So where are they going to put their money? If you were an oligarch and you just lost 20, 30% of your wealth, would you put your money into a volatile asset? How much of your money would you put into a volatile asset? How much money would you put into a volatile asset that you are forced to buy even though the price is going up? Chances are at some point, what I think could happen is that some of this money will move into stablecoins. Because what they're going to say is, look, we just wanted to get off the traditional system and we're going to go into stablecoins. If they're going to stablecoins, they're not going to go into USDT and USDC because those are centralized. So there is a case to say that we may get a couple of $1 billion. I don't think it's going to be $800 billion worth, but there is a case to say that one of the places that money can hide and still earn 20% is on Anchor Protocol and go into UST. So one of the narratives that I think we may be getting and we may get is this decentralized stablecoin narrative. Maybe it's a long shot, but it is a way to start thinking, where is this money going to go? Where is this money going to go? It's not going to go into USDC and USDT because those can be frozen by governments. The subpoena will end up on Bitfinex's desk. What do you think they're going to do? No, I'm not doing anything about it. Of course, come on, guys. They're going to give it all up. The subpoena lands up on Circle's desk. You think Jeremy Allaire is not going to hand over the information? I mean, what are you smoking? And I want some. Anyway, let's carry on. So that's one of the narratives that is going to happen. The next narrative that is probably going to play out. Now, remember, if for me, it's not about Luna, because I think that you've already missed the Luna run. I think you missed the Luna run. I think if you didn't buy Luna when I told you to buy Luna at $45 and $50, sorry for you, you should have listened, okay? Yeah, I told you. Just hold on. Call up the Degen portfolio. Show the guys.
Degen-ish.
Yes, with the results. See, if you would have bought Luna when the day I told you to buy Luna, you would have been up 80% on your Luna alone. Okay, you would have been up on 80% on the Luna alone. Okay, so you didn't buy Luna, so you missed that. So what do you do now? You look at the Luna ecosystem, because I think there's going to be a Luna ecosystem explosion. And you can see that the Luna ecosystem explosion has actually already started, okay? So we look at things like Kujira up 40% today, okay? And we look at things like Astroport, which I told you guys at 65 cents to buy, up at 139. And what most people don't realize is that there's massive demand that is about to be created for Astroport. Because, here it is, see, Alpac knows. He's only got 2,200 followers, but he knows. He says, he has the data. He says, there are more than 8.3 million assets in Astroport maker contract, which will be used to buy back ex-Astro stakers. If buyback execute at the current price, we'll go to 178. That's what I've been saying since 60 cents, because I saw this reserve being built up. What's happening now is you're starting to get two things in Luna. The first thing is that Luna is now the second in terms of TVL on DeFi Llama. So in terms of TVL on DeFi Llama, you've got two of our favorite coins. You've got Ethereum, then you've got Luna, and then you've got Phantom. And you look at Luna, and you see that it is at an all-time high, $23.7 billion in terms of total value locked. We also see that in terms of staking, right now, the total amount staked on validator nodes is on Luna. So the Luna ecosystem, unbelievably healthy. And exactly, Miles did a show yesterday, and in that show yesterday, he showed you guys how to make yields on Luna, and he gave you guys a price target on Luna. And if you missed it, well, we can't bring you the alpha. You have to come to YouTube and you have to do what we say. We can't bring it to you. Okay. We also see the oligarchs putting money into Bitcoin, right? We see that. But Bitcoin, the problem with Bitcoin is that Bitcoin is transparent. That's one of the designs of Bitcoin, is transparent. Everyone can see where they're putting their money. It's not really practical for them. And I think this may kick off another narrative, and it's not the first time that I've said it. In fact, 12 days ago, we wrote an article and we said that there's going to be a privacy narrative that is going to emerge. We actually said that at the end of last year. I didn't know what would be the catalyst for the privacy narrative. All I said is that there would be a privacy narrative in 2022. Now, again, if you're an oligarch, you've got money in Bitcoin, how are you going to spend your money? A lot of people have been saying, if you look at the stuff on Twitter, people are all saying, will crypto be used to evade sanctions? And everyone says, well, the answer is no. And you go to the account of Jake Chavinsky, who's a lawyer, and you go to the account of Asheesh Birla. Asheesh Birla used to work at Ripple. I wonder if he still works at Ripple. I actually went to meet him once. He tried to convince me Ripple was good. Yeah, he's a GM of Ripple now. I'm not convinced. He says in the last few days, we've seen some say that Russia could potentially evade sanctions to get around SWIFT using crypto. I outlined some key arguments refuting this. And then what he says crypto is becoming more easily trackable by software and governments. If that's the best argument that you've got, well, I'm going to say something else to you. There is a whole bunch of protocols that you can use right now that would not be that trackable. And we broke them down for you in this article, but the ones that I think are super important, I think that privacy coins may or may not have a run. I'm not the biggest fan of privacy coins, but what I am a massive fan of is Tornado Cash. And the reason why I'm a big fan of Tornado Cash, for those of you who don't know what Tornado Cash is, I'll show you what it is. Effectively, Tornado Cash is a mixer. Okay, so you put your ETH into this bottle, right? And then he puts his ETH into this bottle. Then we take the bottle, we shake the bottle. That's what Tornado Cash does. It's a mixer. It shakes it. And then now when I drink the ETH, I don't know whose ETH I've drunk. I don't know if it's yours or his. And that's what Tornado Cash does. It's basically like a mixer. It mixes it. So what you're going to realize very soon is that if people want to spend, if these Russian oligarchs, once they've got their money onto the crypto ecosystem, they're not going to get it out. The only way to get it out, the only way to do is to start spending it. And how do you spend it without making all your accounts traceable? You use the mixer. And you can see that everybody does this. I mean, the Lux Rare team, when they took their salary, okay, they took their money out of Tornado Cash. And Zero X Sifu, I mean, Zero X Sifu is quite smart. You've got to say he's very, very, very smart. What did he do? Well, he took his money out where? He took 3,000 ETH out to an address in Tornado Cash. So like it or not, Tornado Cash is being used and it's being adopted every single day. Now, what's going to happen now when all this money comes on and the Russians have to hide it? Well, they're going to start using Tornado Cash. So, or privacy protocols. Privacy is a big narrative. I called the narrative at the end of last year. I'm calling the narrative again now. It's been leapfrogged. It's going to come quicker than we think. I'm not the only one who sees it. CoinDesk now writes this article, forget data. Privacy is the new oil. Okay, so everybody's now talking about privacy. Barry Silbert, every portfolio should have 5% in privacy-focused coins. Okay, so we're seeing that there's this big narrative of privacy and privacy starting to play out. There are some good privacy protocols. We spoke about them in the article. Tornado Cash, Secret, Oasis Labs. Oasis Labs, one thing that you're seeing about Oasis Labs is that this protocol that for a long time didn't do anything, they're working with Facebook on applications securing computer technology. So they are working with Facebook. They're working with BMW as well. They're driving innovation with the BMW group. If you look at developer activity, and I always say, follow the devs. If you follow the devs, that's where you're going to make the most money, right? Follow the devs. The developer activity, okay, the developer activity, I'm going to answer that question in a second. Look, the developer activity, where's the developer activity spiked in the last couple of days? On Rose. Okay, so on Rose. So someone's asking, so 0xSifu puts the money into an address. Someone's asking about if it's private, how do you know 0xSifu did it? Because we all know 0xSifu's Ethereum address. And what we know is that he put money into Tornado Cash. Tornado Cash shakes the money. Okay. And then when he pours it out, you'll never know when it's coming out and where it's coming out from. And that's why it's private. Everyone knows which address put it in, but when it comes out and when it starts getting paid to people to buy things, you don't know who paid it. And that's why it's such a genius protocol. Ironically, it was actually created by Russians. So Tornado Cash no, it wasn't. It was created by two Russian brothers who actually burnt the keys. They actually burnt the keys to the protocol. So it's completely decentralized. The keys are gone. It's like it's history. It's gone. Alrighty. Now I know why you guys are here. You guys are here for the free airdrop. So do we have 3,000 lakhs? If we have 3,000 lakhs, 2.6. You can do 400 more lakhs. All right, so I'll show you how to get the airdrop. And I think it's a very, very, very good airdrop because there's one ecosystem we don't talk enough about. And the ecosystem we don't talk enough about is this ecosystem over here. Okay, it's the Cosmos ecosystem. You say this is the Cosmos ecosystem. Cosmos is an unbelievable ecosystem with unbelievable technology. They've got the IBC, which is the inter-blockchain bridge. It's a bridge. What does IBC stand for? Inter-blockchain. It's the bridge. Okay. Now, there's a whole lot of protocols that are built using the Cosmos SDK technology, the Tendermint technology. Binance Smart Chain, Luna, all of those use this technology. You can see there's a very good Kronos, which is the chain, the crypto.com chain, Osmosis, which is the DEX, Juno, etc. They all use this technology. They all Lunaterra, Akash, all use this Cosmos SDK technology. Now, there is a new chain that is coming onto Cosmos, and the new chain is called Evmos. Evmos stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine on Cosmos. Evmos. So it actually sounds quite cool because it is effectively, if you take all these chains, and remember what Cosmos is actually not a blockchain. Cosmos is actually like a bridge between blockchains. It's a bridge between blockchains. Now, if you take all of these chains and you say, okay, the one thing that you're not seeing, or there are some competitors, but what's coming here, inter-blockchain communication protocol, IBC, sorry. Okay, so the one thing that we need here is an EVM compatible chain. Why do we need an EVM compatible chain? Because then you can migrate dApps off Ethereum onto Cosmos. And when they're on Cosmos, well, you can then use those apps using the bridges and using Cosmos. You can interact with all the other protocols on the ecosystem. So you see, you can, because they all work on the same ecosystem. You see that? Okay. So now there's a new chain coming on, and it's called Evmos. And Evmos allows you to get free airdrops. Okay, but what's interesting about Evmos is that you can get free airdrops. How do you get free airdrops? I'll show you how you get free airdrops. They wrote this whole beautiful article, and in this amazing, beautiful article, if you go here to they call the site. This is what you're going to pay attention to. They call the site Rekt Drop. Okay, so got Rekt. Go to Rekt, R-E-K-T, drop. Very smart marketing people. Now, you go to Rekt Drop and you go, what is Rekt Drop? And you can see that effectively Rekt Drop is an airdrop. And the airdrop is for these Evmos tokens. So now you're saying to me, okay, well, who cares? Because I don't qualify for the airdrop. So let's look at who actually qualifies for the airdrop. The first one is a gas drop. The second one is the most number of chains and applications involved in the airdrop, people using the bridge, the airdropping to bridge users, and this is where it gets interesting, reparations for users in exploits in negative market conditions. And what they're basically saying here is if you have paid gas fees, Ethereum gas drops, okay? Ethereum sparked a revolution by making smart contracts widely accessible to developers and users. As we prioritize expanding capabilities of Ethereum Virtual Machine, we want to thank early adopters and active experimenters for making it all possible. we have selected a handful of decentralized applications, okay, which they've called on Ethereum, which they're called gas guzzlers. So these are the applications that consumed a lot of gas and total value locked. Users will be rewarded on their usage of these apps proportional to their gas expenditure, which means that if you used Aave, Uniswap, SushiSwap, Compound, Curve, OpenSea, Gnosis, ENS, Perpetual Protocol, Yearn, Olympus DAO, DYDX, if you used any of these applications, then you can get the airdrop because you got wrecked. Because they say, look, you got wrecked because you paid gas fees. And because you got wrecked because you paid gas fees on Ethereum, well, don't worry, we'll give you an airdrop of this. So why did I want to show this to you guys? One is, if you are a Cosmos person, then you want to go and read this whole article. But if you're not, if you're just an Ethereum person and you've just paid huge gas fees on Uniswap, SushiSwap, Compound, OpenSea, which we've all done that, right? What do? Well, now you go there and bang, you get a free airdrop. And that's what I wanted to show you. That's the free alpha here. So how do you get the free alpha? Let's quickly go through it again. You go to the site called rektdrop.com. You click on rektdrop.com. Okay, that will take you to a very nice looking site here. You say enter. You say, what is EVM Airdrop? And you read this article, okay? For those of you that can't read, tomorrow I'll do a show where I'll read it out to you. For those of you who can read, you should read the article. We'll read the article together, and you can see how you can get these airdrops, okay? You see how you get these airdrops. Like I was ragged on Pickle Finance a while ago, so I'm also going to get, because I was ragged on Pickle Finance, I'm going to get some on Pickle. I'm going to get some for being ragged. That's why it's called Rekt Drop. You got it. It's quite cool, huh? Very cool. All right, we are running out of time, and I did promise you guys a giveaway. Did we get to 3,000 likes? Please just say we got to 3,000 likes. Okay, so
3.1.
3.1. 3.1. A minute. I have to give away the giveaway. So sorry, Fred. I have to give away the giveaways. And as I said that, Fred got up and said, giveaways. Giveaways. Every time I make an altcoin call, that's Fred. All right, so what is the giveaway today? This is a game called Heroes Chained. See the game? That's called Heroes Chained. It is an amazing game. Hustle, is it a good game?
Yeah, I checked it out actually whenever it was launching on the launch pads. It looks pretty good. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so what we're going to give away is that looks like the Ukrainians stealing the Russian tanks. Okay, so okay, so that's the game. That's the thing. So how are we going to give these away? What are we giving away? We're giving away 5 whitelist NFT spots. So 5 people are going to get whitelist NFT spots, and they're going to be able to buy the NFTs. How are we giving this away? We're giving away 1 on Hustle Show later. So you got to watch Hustle Show. 2, we'll give away 2 on Hustle Show. I think that's good. So 2 on Hustle Show later. And then what we're going to do is we're going to give away 3 of those for anyone who goes to the website and comments on the website, on any article on the website. Just comment, and we'll select 3 winners tomorrow off the website. I think that sounds good. That's fair enough. Hustle, what's on the gaming show later, bro?
Let's just say there's an ultra special guest on the show today. I think you definitely want to tune in, especially if the Project Ultra has been on your radar. We're going to get some good insights. We have a great show on the docket today. So 3 hours from now, we'll have a big guest coming on the show. And we'll actually have two big guests coming on over the next few days. So we have a good end of the week coming up on the In the Game show. So be sure to check that out about 3 hours from now.
Okay, so 3 hours from now, we've got an ultra special guest.
Keyword.
I mean, you're not exactly someone to keep secrets, right?
No, of course, no. We're having one of Ultra's co-CEOs join, and we're gonna break down everything Ultra.
Okay, so that is that. One more thing before we go. I just have to remind you all, and Hustler, I don't know if you've seen this, but we have an NFT initiative at Banter. It's called Art Against War. Please go and follow us. It's at the AAW_NFT. What we're doing is we're crowdsourcing anti-war art, so anti-war NFTs. And we are minting 5,000 of these NFTs. And we're going to hope to raise $1.5 million. And we're going to take that $1.5 million and we're going to donate it directly to the Ukrainian government to help them fight the war. But more than that is, every time that these NFTs trade afterwards, we are going to take some of those, we're going to take 100% of the proceeds and give it to the Ukrainians to help them rebuild Ukraine. So that's our initiative. And the mint happens on Friday. So you got 2 days, 6 hours and 34 minutes to go and get ready for the mint. So if you want to do your part for Ukraine, help us help. It's an initiative we're doing with Burb and with our partners at MetaVest. Do it. Every single cent goes to the Ukrainian government. Every cent.
I'll be minting.
I'll see you later, bro.
See you later, Rand.
With your ultra special guest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bro, we missed you here. You're missing for us here, bro. You're missing for us here. The whole Banter team is here.
I know. I just had too much going on here to make the trip, but I'll the studio isn't picking up and moving, so I'll be out there very soon. But I wish I could be out there with the whole team.
Look at your studio.
It looks so good. I need to use it a couple times a week at least. Go between my setup here and the virtual studio we have set up.
Awesome. Alrighty, Hustle. We'll see you later, bro. And remember, guys, I don't know if you guys saw, but if you haven't yet started to buy into the Degen-ish portfolio, you can see that for most people who started to buy into Degen-ish portfolio, they're slightly up. Where are the Degen-ish portfolios with the returns? Okay, so there we go. There are some tokens that haven't started to move yet, and those may actually be that's where the opportunity. There's a whole lot of coins that haven't started running yet, so worth looking at. Alrighty, we'll see you guys again tomorrow, and then on Friday there are no shows. There are no shows on Banter at all on Friday because we're going to be gone on Friday. We're going on a company day away, and then next week there's going to be limited shows. So stay tuned. Follow me on Twitter at CryptoManRun if you want to know what's going on. Otherwise, I will see you guys again tomorrow. Before we go, let's have one last look. No wonder no one was commenting about the Bitcoin chart. Is Pal speaking now? What's Pal saying?
Being bearish.
Oh, Pal's being bearish. Pal, where's he speaking?
He's testifying from the conference.
Do you have a live link?
Not at the moment.
So basically, Powell is ruining the party. So this is it. Wow, he's obviously doing a really good job of running the party. Seriously good job of running the party. Ah, goodness. We've got it. Let's just see if we can find a link as to where Powell is speaking. Powell live today.
Or the response from nations around the world, including sanctions, may have changed that expectation. And so it's too soon to say for sure, but for now, I would say that we will proceed carefully along the lines of that plan. The thing is, the economic effects of these events are highly uncertain. So far, we've seen energy prices move up further, and those increases will move through the economy and push up headline inflation, and also they're going to weigh on spending. We're seeing effects on other commodities and perhaps from declining risk sentiment and weaker growth abroad. The thing is, we can't know how large or persistent those effects will be. That simply depends on events to come. So this is where that leaves me. I do think it will be appropriate to raise our target range for the federal funds rate at the March meeting in a couple of weeks. And I'm inclined to propose and support a 25 basis point rate hike.
That's good.
We're also going to write down our new summary of economic projection, individual forecasts, which will show each participant's views of the path forward in the economy and with
You
rates.
see, as he said,
I also
25
expect that
basis
at
points,
this
and we got a
meeting,
green
We'll
candle.
make good progress toward an agreement on a plan to shrink the balance sheet. We will not finalize that plan at this meeting. We'll do that when we think the time is right at a coming meeting. The bottom line is that we will proceed, but we will proceed carefully as we learn more about the implications of the Ukraine war for the economy. We use our tools to support financial stability and macroeconomic stability. We're going to avoid adding uncertainty to what is already an extraordinarily challenging and uncertain moment. So that's how I would think about it.
Very specific. Now, you mentioned 25 basis points. From all the analysis about what the Fed will do over the course of the next year, is 25 basis points the floor, the ceiling? Is it the speed limit? Is that the max you think the Fed could take on? How do you think of that?
So here's how I think about that. We have an expectation. Those of us on the committee have an expectation that inflation will peak and begin to come down this year. And to the extent
Really?
inflation comes in higher or is more persistently high than that, then we would be prepared to move more aggressively by raising the federal funds rate by more than 25 basis points at a meeting or meetings.
Now, you mentioned the balance sheet, a plan for the balance sheet, and that is to come. But what I'm hearing clearly from you is that the Fed is very interested in financial stability given what's happening, and you're willing to make quick decisions on a question of liquidity, on a question of market stability, those important works that you've focused on as Fed chair. And so it's actually substantial news for the House to be the first rather than the Senate to break news. So thank you for your forthcoming, being so forthright about your views on this. And with that, Madam Chair, I yield back.
Thank you. The gentleman from California, Mr. Vargas, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thank you for.
You see, the Californian is still wearing a mask. He doesn't, because the Californian dude's still wearing a mask. No one else is wearing a mask. The Californian guy wearing a mask.
Criminal Russian invasion of Ukraine.
It wasn't the California. I take that back.
Has been the president's recent announcement cut off much of the Russian financial sector from SWIFT financial services. Our EU partners have also joined us and excluded 7 Russian banks from SWIFT. Chairman Powell, what practical effect would this have on Russia, its economy, its financial sector, and its people?
So thank you. I should point out that the Fed does not impose sanctions on other countries. That we in this process of developing sanctions, we are not a principal.
All right, so I think
that's really
got
job
confirmation
for the administration, particularly the Treasury Department. So we provide.
We got confirmation of a 25% basis point, or at least Powell's going for a 25% basis point interest rate hike when the Fed meets in mid-March, and I think that's what the market's expected. Let's quickly have one last look at what that did to Bitcoin, 44,500. I guess, yeah, that's pretty much what we expected. All right, we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends.